What's up guys, Lime's here with my first Rise of Immortals gameplay video for you. I'm playing Psychozen here in a 5v5 match, and I got a few things I'm going to talk about today. One of which is just the character I'm playing. Psychozen's a melee disabler character he deals physical damage with all his abilities. He has a slow, he has a silence, he has a heal which actually does true damage instead of physical damage, which is very useful against those characters that build heaps of armor like Vezin and Scorpix. With items for Psychozen, you generally want to build CDR, mana, and tank items. The CDR lets you just spam your abilities all day, which increases your damage output and just lets you just constantly silence and slow people. You want to get mana so you can support this, so you can just constantly pump out your abilities. And to finish up, you want to get tank items so you can just generally live. A lot of Psychozen's abilities require you to be fairly close to the enemy, and especially his heal requires you to be right in the action to get kills. Psychozen's had some highs and lows. When I started playing, he was fairly weak. This was around start of open beta. You saw a Psychozen and you just kind of thought, it's a Psychozen. It's not exactly that hard to go against. Then he just got kind of progressively better as tank items like armor kind of got a bit expensive and he kind of got a bit powerful. He got to a point where his Q could single-handedly take you down to about 100 HP, and it was kind of ridiculous. Then he kind of went into a phase where he was kind of bad again. They nerfed a lot of his numbers, and he was just kind of not a threat at all. Right now where he stands, he's pretty good. I mean, he's not as good as he used to be, which was basically one-shotting people with his Q, but he certainly does enough damage. The issue with Psychozen at the moment is because his abilities do a lot of physical damage, people tend to itemize against him very easily without even knowing it. With the increase in awareness of Nisus and Balix doing a lot of physical damage, people build a lot more armor and it's a lot easier to as well, sorry. The problem with this, because Psychozen does physical damage, you're really not doing that much damage to people who build a lot of armor because of Nisus or Balix. So you're kind of stuck just using your Q and your E to silence and slow people instead of trying to maintain a high damage output. Another thing that's interesting recently is the new patch that's come out, the September 27 patch. New Immortal, Trovoc, the Dragon something, I'm not sure of the official name. He's kind of interesting. He's the first Immortal to not actually use mana. Instead he just relies on his cooldowns to cast his abilities. And his ability cooldowns are long. I mean, at level 1 you're looking at least 28 seconds without any base CDR or mastery points put into your abilities. So you're kind of stuck with building CDR on him, which means Windrunner boots. If you don't get that, you're significantly gimping yourself in terms of being able to cast your abilities with him. Because he doesn't use mana, you can just build tank items as well as CDR, which kind of limits what you can build with them actually, because there are a few CDR items which have mana on them, and you either waste some cash buying items with mana which you can't actually use, so you can get more CDR, or you're not buying much CDR, so you're not able to cast your abilities as much, which means you're just kind of a tank who casts the occasional ability. His abilities themselves, they're pretty interesting. I like the idea that Petroglyph is going with the whole area of denial thing. I think it's cool that they're actually actively fighting characters like Nisus and Zai with such skills. I mean, if a Zai jumps into your team, you can just blow him away with the Q, and if a Nisus is dominating, you can just ult her, and she won't be auto-attacking. I mean, it's good. I think they're listening to the community, and knowing that Nisus does a lot of damage, and there's nothing you can really do against her at the moment. Now that Trovoc's out, there is a way you can take him out. In terms of his competitiveness, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see where he sits on the team. I don't know who he'd probably replace in the team lineup. They're kind of strapped for spaces in terms of that, and this is a funny kill here, taking out the the stupid carry who decided to walk into a bush where all three of us were, and our carry used her ult at point blank, which is apparently smart. Anyway, Trovoc. Where was I with Trovoc? Oh yeah, so he kind of... I don't know where he'd be on the team lineup. You don't really want to... The kind of current team lineup is you have just your general mage mid, your support and carry top, and bot lane you usually just have like a Zai and someone else. And that someone else could easily be Icor over what you'd usually have, which is something like maybe another mage like Nethagist or Vezin. It's kind of weird, I don't know. His signature ability actually looks really good, probably one of the most interesting signatures I've seen. It's an AoE cleanse, which also gives attack speed. I think that's it. And it also makes Trovoc big and dragony, and makes him do something, I'm not sure, I'll look it up later. But I think it's really a counter-signature signature. If you look at other signatures, they're usually just massive AoE stuns or silence, but you've got Trovoc, which is a AoE cleanse, so you kind of want to follow up someone else's signature with your own signature, which I guess would just like waste their cooldown while your team gets the upper hand with the increased attack speed boost. I can see it being very useful against Tatianas, who love to use their signature ability, I guess, who is, her signature is a large AoE stun, and he can just kind of sit there and use his own, and the Tatiana would just get destroyed, followed by the rest of the team most likely. And also the Barney skin. I mean, gotta love Petroglyph with their awesome skins. I mean, you can't have a dragon without a Barney skin, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense. And the last thing I wanted to talk about today was the rumoured Steam support. Well, it's not really rumoured, most people kind of know it. But Rise of Immortals is probably going to be one of the free games listed on Steam. There's been a few threads where they've either leaked information or just kind of blatantly said it that they're putting it on Steam. The patch notes for September 27th actually had reference to Steam achievements, which was then removed because, whoops, they weren't meant to be there, quote unquote. Good job on Cronus, I believe, finding those out. Good job to you. This will be interesting, man. Putting it on Steam, I know it has increased play bases for a lot of other games. I know, what's it called? Spiral Knights? Yeah, Spiral Knights got a huge following when it was put on Steam. Before then, there was only, I don't know, a few thousand players. But as soon as it was put on Steam, the players just came in, and Spiral Knights is actually a pretty good game. A lot of other games have been following this trend and being put on Steam free. I know, Crimecraft, there's a few others which kind of semi-popular games which never really took over being put on Steam and then just kind of got in a big player base, so it should be interesting. Well, this is the end of the gameplay. I haven't talked much about it, there's just been a lot going on in the world of Rise of Immortals. I hope you've enjoyed it, hope I haven't bored you too much. This is Limes, signing out.